This is the ABQ Business Podcast
with your host, Jason Rigby.
Each week we'll interview visionary business leaders to inspire the creative power and spirit
That's in every entrepreneur.
discussing strengths, weaknesses, strategies, systems, and the problems we can all solve together for a new future for local small business.
It is snowing here. I know for some of you, you may have already had snow in different areas, but for Albuquerque, we were at 80 degrees last week. Now we're in the 20s and it's snowing. It's crazy. We got a little bit of bipolar weather going on. Really excited about today's episode, something I've been thinking about in a situation that happened to me this morning, and I want to get into it. But first, the title of this episode, and it's going to be a quick one, is Your Actions Will Show Your Commitment. Let me say that again. Your actions will show your commitment. So it's 20-something degrees. It's snowing. Freeways are shut down. Back roads are fine. Waking up this morning, know I had to go to the gym. Didn't want to. Text my trainer, said, hey, how is it? You know, and he's like, I'm at the gym already. I'm here. I'll see you at 10. And I'm like, oh, I didn't want to go. And I was using the excuse of the weather not to go. I have an all-wheel drive vehicle, so I would have been fine. And it's real dry snow here. It's not like wet. So even now, as of the day being in the afternoon time, it is already, you can see like roads are getting a lot more drier, and we're in a high desert area. So it's almost like a powdered type snow. But I was sitting in bed and I was not wanting to get up. I was sitting in bed making excuses. I did not want to make a commitment because I did not want to do the action of one, getting up out of those warm Costco snuggly blankets that you can buy. I threw that on top of the comforter last night because I knew it was going to be cold. I have those in my on my couch too, just sitting there. Love those things. But whenever you look at commitment and you look at action, you have to understand when you see your goals, there's a lot of action that has to happen for you to accomplish that goal. And the only way that you're going to accomplish that goal is through commitment. But that action is what brings us closer to the goal. So why are we not willing to commit to the action when we know what the outcome is going to be? I know if I work out 4 or 5 times a week for a whole year, I know my body's going to be changed dramatically. I know if I eat right for the whole year, I know what it's going to be. At the end of the, we're all smart. We know what can happen if we're disciplined and we take the right amount of action. And whenever I look at having to change, and I look at this word, and this word is thrown around, I want us to think commitment and action, not motivation. We'll talk about motivation, but I'm going to share with you exactly how I think motivation and what motivation is generated, that it is not the engine. It is just the outcome of an engine working through commitment and action. So how do you get a different mindset? How do you show commitment to action? How do you change your mindset? How can you improve your view of your goals? How can you conquer these goals and set goals? Well, I believe until you are committed, there is always this little, and I want you to think of it like this, just kiddie pool. We all have the big pool and then we have the kiddie pool, and the kiddie pool is safe. We can all go there and hang out, and it's just not very much water, but it's like a pool. It's fun. I mean, but when we were little, do you remember going from the kiddie pool to the big pool? There's a commitment to that. But they're always between the kiddie pool and the big pool, there's this hesitancy. And as we began to take action, we were hesitant, but then we're like, okay, we get brave enough, and we're like, I'm going to go step into the big pool. But what happens as we're walking? Nope, I'm going to go back to the kiddie pool. We have this drawing back stage. So we have the hesitancy stage. This is even before we commit action. I want you to understand these so you can be self-aware of each of these stages. We have the hesitancy stage. Then we have the drawing back stage. And that's where ineffectiveness happens. And in those two stages, we're trying to get motivated. And it's this esoteric word that we don't really know how to get motivated. But how can you take the initiative or the action of initiative to get past getting out of the kiddie pool, not hesitating, not drawing back, and actually getting to the point to where you can hold on to the rail and, start slowly going in on those stairs? Well, there's one word. It's creation. You say, what does creation have to do with this? It's creation in the form of you creating energy inside of yourself. And I'm not being foo-foo here, and I'm not being spiritual, religious, or any of that. I'm talking about energy, momentum. That's what creates action. It's that snowball effect. And we all seen that snowball that can start so small, and then through friction, and then going downhill, and then it builds up and builds up and builds up and creates this mass amounts of energy. But ignorance, I think, towards understanding these levels before we get to action, and then thinking that something external, whether it's a podcast or whether it's you holding yourself accountable or having friends hold, accountable. There's all these different things that we're basing this off of an ignorance in the form of, and I want to clarify this word, an ignorance in the form of you not taking the time to be self-aware to recognize what step you're in before you make commitment. Am I in the hesitation stage? Am I drawing back? Where am I at? And then creating momentum, creating motivation. Well, how do you do that, Jason? Well, it's making a small step. It's that small little step. It's eyeing the pool, looking, okay, I'm sitting in the pool. I'm not happy here anymore. I know I need to go over there. For me to be grown up, I want to be in that big pool. Well, how do I get there? Well, I have to get up out of the kiddie pool. I have to have enough courage to get up. I have to walk over there. And then I have to, go into the pool. I need to make sure I know how to swim. So there's some things that I need to understand. I just don't want to go jumping like crazy into 6 foot, 8 foot. Next thing you know, I'm not in this world anymore. Don't want that. So there's some tasks that I need to do. There's some things I need to accomplish where I can be productive in the big pool. And so that's a commitment to yourself. It's a realization first to get rid of that ignorance. And then it's a commitment to yourself. And once you make that commitment to yourself with no external motivation, that's when the magic begins to happen. So let's look at this commitment to oneself. We look at what we want to accomplish. We look at the motivation, the inspiration. And some of you get that through maybe something horrific happens. And so all of a sudden you become motivated, or the doctor scares you. I had a friend of mine, he was drinking a lot of hard alcohol. And then the doctor told him, your liver's going to be gone. So what happened? He ended up not drinking for a whole year. It scared him that bad where he gave up drinking for a whole year. And then he's kind of moderated a little bit better after that. So it inspired him, because inspiration just needs to be a positive word all the time. It inspired him to give it up. And then it motivated him to follow through every action, even though he was craving it or even though he wanted it. He was using it as a crutch after work. He had to say, no, I value my health. I value having a liver over this bottle of liquid that makes me escape. So then he becomes self-aware enough, and it causes him to create action. So how do you commit to the action? Well, this morning, what I had to do was I text him. I was hoping for an out. So to be honest with you, I text him and I was like, is the gym open? Are you going to be there? And then he's like, yep, I'm here. So I had to commit to getting out of bed first. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go work out. I know how I feel after I work out. I know once I get my heart rate up, once I get these endorphins rolling, once everything begins to happen, I know I'm going to be motivated and energized for the rest of the day if I go and spend an hour working out. He's going to push me. He's going to externally motivate me. But right now, it's required for me to even get to the gym. It's requiring 100% my responsibility to get out of bed, put my workout clothes on, drink a protein shake, get my pre-workout and amino acids together, and head to the gym. Because your actions create emotional reactions. Let me say that again. Your actions, they can be super small, getting out of bed. They create an emotional reaction. Once I said, yes, I'm getting out of bed, then the emotions begin to hit about me going to work out. And that began to inspire me. Then I began to look at what the rest of the day was going to be like, what I knew it could happen, and how effective I could be if all I did was go do this. Our actions create those emotional reactions. They inspire us, and then they move us to motivate future actions. So we have to commit to action. That is the key, guys. And if you have not been accomplishing your goals, I know somebody told me the other day they've gained 25 pounds instead of losing 25 pounds. And January the 1st, they had committed to, and then they use COVID as an excuse. Could you socially distance and go outside and go running? Of course you can. Can you eat good and stay home? Of course you can. So COVID's really not an excuse for your health for that 25 pounds, right? Instead, we used it in the form for us to not have any inaction, and we watched Netflix and we stayed at home and we said, haha, I don't have to work. I can do this. This is awesome. And then how do we feel from the consequences of our inaction? That's what creates motivation. That's why it's so important to be self-aware. You have to look at the consequences of inaction. They can be severe. If you don't take care of yourself mentally, what can happen to you? If you're just constantly stressed and at fight and flight, your hormones, what's going to happen to them? People blow out adrenal glands and everything else. So it's a simple step. It's an easy thing. You're going to the grocery store and you said, guess what? Today's Saturday. I'm at the grocery store. I'm going to meal prep tomorrow. Let me get everything that I need to buy right now. That's a commitment to action. You get the products, you put in your fridge. Guess what? You're probably more than likely, if you've bought everything and you've made that commitment and that small step, you're probably more than likely on Sunday, unless emergency hits or something, that you're going to meal prep. Now, what is meal prep going to do for you? It's going to have you have the opportunity to be able to eat clean all week long. It changes those future actions. When you begin to focus on the future actions and what it could look like, then you get motivation. That's what gets the snowball rolling. But that first step, that's up to you. But I want you to know this, and this is a short podcast today. I want you to know this. You're your own source of motivation. You're your own source of inspiration. You can become this. We all start in the same exact place. And guess what that place is? It's the beginning. Do you remember when you were trying to walk? Probably don't. I don't remember it. Maybe some of you do. It was just action after action after action, and then scary commitment after scary commitment, scary commitment. Next thing you know, bam, you're walking. First day at school, scary. You commit. I'm going to read, write. I'm going to do work. Next thing you know, you get a diploma from the actions, the daily actions that you did in school. Accomplish something. It's taking that first step. If you would have never decided to walk, then you wouldn't be walking. You wouldn't be an productive adult. There's nothing that you could do. If you decided not to go to that first day of school and make that decision, if you decided not to go to college or whatever it may be, or to take that job, you got offered the job and you're like, no, it's a new job. I can't handle that. I don't even know how to clock in and out. Remember your first job? It's amazing how our mind remembers things and how we can comprehend things and how we can learn. And as we learn, we grow. And as we move forward, we have success. So I encourage you today, short podcast, like I said, commit to your actions. And even if you fail, you can still push forward if you continue action. So, title of my podcast today, as many of you know, commit to action. Do what you need to do to accomplish. Take those small steps. And if you have not followed me on Instagram, I encourage you to do it. It's ABQ Jason Rigby. That's ABQ Jason Rigby. I know a lot of you have asked me or DM me about giving me, different people that that could be on the show. If they have an interesting story, I would love to be able to talk to them. I think it would be fun. So like I said, the best way is to just DM me on Instagram, ABQ Jason Rigby. Also go to our YouTube channel. That has been growing. We've been getting more subscribers and more views on YouTube. I've been putting a little bit more out there video wise, but mainly I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on all of them. But my main one, probably, I like using Instagram stories. That's a lot of fun, is Instagram at ABQ Jason Rigby. Thanks, guys. Commit to action.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share.
And go to abqpodcast.com.
Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.